Hi, this is Dan, and this is the second episode of Asshole Decider. This time, though, I am doing it after dark, which basically means at this point I've had several beers. So hopefully that won't lead to this being a complete train wreck, but no promises. So I do have Ace with me again, although I think this time he's not going to end up getting up at all. He's happily laying down on the couch next to me. So I have looked at hopefully a few promising stories here, and we'll get to read through them and talk about them. So let's begin. Now, this is one I don't want to reveal the title to. I have read this one completely before, um, but sometimes with the titles, it ends up completely like throwing away like any suspense over who is and is not the asshole. Um, so if I read the title, I think the answer would be very clear. Okay, so I, 22 female, have been with my partner, 24 male, for 4 years now. I have never known him to do anything like this, but I noticed he started acting a little strange around a month, maybe a month and a half ago. He started putting fruit on the floor in the garden, and I thought that it was a bit weird, but he said he was feeding the mice family that have nested in our shed, and I thought it was sweet and helpful, and it helped him do so. So I know right now you might be like, well, that doesn't seem too terrible. Um, I really hope, like, as you're listening, that you will not, hopefully, if you're not reading ahead, I really hope that this just ends up completely hitting you like a semi truck because my god. Okay, anyway, he started being really nice to me around 2 weeks ago and was making me food, baking me cakes and stuff, which he never usually cooks eat ever. So I was so happy he found a hobby. I did notice sometimes I felt sick and dizzy after eating, and I just put it down to a lack of sleep and hormones. Anyways, a friend of my partner's came into my work today. I work in a cafe, and said he needed to speak to me when I was free. I was free as there wasn't any customers at this time. He told me that my partner had been collecting slugs from the garden on fruit he had been putting out there and putting them in my food, blending them up. He even sent his friend of his pictures of a bag of slugs he had collected and the pictures of blended slugs. I feel really sick to my stomach. I don't understand why he would do this. This is so out of character of him. I asked him why he was doing it, and he accused me of stooping through his messages, which I would never do, and got so angry at the not being able to take a joke. I feel disgusting. I love him to pieces, but I just don't understand his way of thinking just now. Am I overreacting? I don't know what to do. I feel lost. Too long didn't read. My partner has been putting slugs in my food, and I don't know what to do or not know how to react. He's angry at me for being angry. There are some updates. Just found a jar with 4 slugs in under the sink my partner must have forgot about. I think they are dead, so can be old ones, I feel. Physically sick. And here we find out, fortunately, I've left him at the doctor now. It's very busy though, so I haven't been seen yet. So to answer the question, no, you are not the asshole in any way at all. And honestly, I kind of feel bad that you felt the need to ask. I can't imagine how horrible it must be to actually have to second guess yourself on something like that. Like, that's ridiculous that your significant other could be poisoning you with slugs, and yet you end up feeling like you're the one who has to be having the potential of being the asshole. Honestly, there's a great comment I did see where someone posted that in a lot of cases, women posting on "Am I the asshole?" um, tend to basically be like, "Am I the asshole for basically being upset with some awful thing my boyfriend or husband or whoever did to me?" And am I the asshole for being upset with them for some awful thing they did? Whereas for men, it's usually, am I the asshole for my girlfriend not being okay with me being an asshole to her? Or, yeah, sorry. But yeah, it's just amazing that anyone would do this. Honestly, I think you may have dodged a bullet that he was only doing slugs, although even then that was making you sick. So I guess if there is any silver lining, it's that you got out alive. Honestly, if I would be like going to the police with this stuff, because my God, like just what? I don't understand what could go through someone's head where they feel like doing that is okay in any way, or just like a joke. Like, no, you cannot mess with people's food like that. Like, no, just no. Like, there's been times where people have done even like the simplest food pranks. Like, I mean, a common one is like putting eye drops in food, and that can kill people. So even if you think you're doing some sort of like cute, innocent joke, like unless it's something that's purely non toxic in any way. But even then, it's like, don't mess with people's food. Like, just don't. What's wrong with you? All right, I'm going to find the next story now. Okay, so here's our next one. Am I the asshole for eating my coworker's lunch in an emergency? Okay, right away. This is one where I'm like, this could go either way. This could definitely go either way, depending on what they think is an emergency. Okay, too long, didn't read. I ate my coworker's lunch during an emergency, and she flipped out at me and said she will complain to management. Hi, so a bit of backstory. I work in a medium sized office on the edge of my city, kind of on the border between suburbia and the urban city. I have a disability, which makes walking difficult, so I can only go short distances without losing my breath and needing a rest. I live above a subway and usually buy my lunch on the way to work, but that day I was running late and couldn't have breakfast. So I was hungry when I got to the office and ate my subs, subs. So they had more than one sandwich. Subs. I really hope that was a typo. Because, okay, at my desk for breakfast. It was raining that day, and it takes about 10 or 15 minutes to walk to the nearest shops, so I felt it might be dangerous for me to make the journey with my disability. By the time it was nearly lunch, I was starving and looked in the staff fridge. A coworker, let's call her Jane, had a Tupperware lasagna in there. She was in an all day meeting, So it wasn't going to be finished until 5 p.m. So I put it in the microwave and ate it because I literally had nothing. You ate her meal because you had nothing to eat. That was the emergency, that you did not have food. Are you diabetic? Like, is what? Like, that's fast forward to about 1 p.m. and all day meeting breaks for so the all day meeting breaks for lunch. Okay, great. So your whole thing about, oh well, Jane's not going to get her lasagna until 5 was clearly wrong and poorly thought out. Jane comes out and goes to the fridge when she sees her lasagna is missing, and she gets real aggro. Yeah, why would she aggro? She gets real aggro. Yeah, super aggressive. Like what a bitch, getting upset because you ate her food. Starts asking where it is. Someone must have told her it was me. So you were just blatantly stealing her food in front of other people. Nice. Not that it makes it somehow worse that if you had tried to, or it makes it better if you hadn't like, done it in front of anyone else. If you were like being a food ninja, just you're a mess. I tried explaining that was an emergency and I didn't have any lunch. That's not an emergency. Like, are you diabetic? Like, do you need food? Or, do you, like, were you having a blood sugar emergency? And, I mean, even then, you should probably have stuff at your desk in case. But, like, even then, like, if you were somehow out for whatever reason, like, wouldn't you just ask someone if you could like share lunch or anything? Like you had no other coworkers. Also, you knew about this, so why didn't you just have someone see if anyone would be willing to make a lunch run for you or if anyone else was buying food? Like, honestly, if it were me, I would have just been like, dude, hey, Fred, or, anyone else at the office, be like, hey, would you mind going and buying me lunch? I'll pay for your lunch too if you go pick it up and bring it here, or else there's, obviously a bunch of food delivery places, assuming they run there. Uh, she was insisting that I'm in the wrong because you are. And she said she didn't want to get wet because of her hair or heels or something, but I don't think that's fair. I even offered to pay her back when we get our paycheck next week, but she said she was going to complain to my manager about it. So you don't think it's fair that she didn't want to go out and get wet, but you think it's fair for you to just eat her lunch because you didn't want to go out. I mean, due to your disability, but I'm very curious. I really want to know what the disability is. I know I am a person with a disability. Like I am a person with a disability, and I'm so like I get the whole idea of like confidentiality and stuff, but I'm very curious what this person's disability is. And I hope that doesn't sound too awful, but I'm like, what is going on? Like, what could possibly, like, assuming that the disability is tied into the emergency, maybe it's, I mean, it just sounds like their emergency was that they didn't have food. Like, I initially thought, like, are they diabetic? Because then, like, that could easily lead to an emergency. Like, I've worked with people who are like I've helped people with diabetes manage their glucose and everything like that. But like, what? Okay, I was upset at how angry she was, so went off to the restroom to get away. I didn't see her again that day, but now I feel like the office hates me and everyone is on our side. am I the asshole? It was an emergency. Again, I don't know what makes it an emergency. I mean, you have to explain that. That, like, just saying it's an emergency, if it is tied to your disability, I think you, in this case, should probably explain how it would be tied to your disability, or at least explain how it was an emergency. Because right now, it sounds like the only emergency was you didn't have a lunch. So that's not an emergency. I mean, I think most people who've ever worked in an office have probably had a time where they may have had to go without lunch. Maybe they forgot to get a lunch. Maybe something happened. They didn't have time like you did. Although you did have time to go to Subway, so you didn't have time to have breakfast. But you were at Subway, which, why didn't you get a sandwich, like an extra sub sandwich, or breakfast sandwich? Because I think they have breakfast there. Like, why didn't you get breakfast at Subway? And then you could have saved your sub or subs when you were gonna have lunch. I just this is one of those where it's like, how do you look at this and not think you're the asshole? Okay, next one. Am I the asshole for coming out at my brother's bar mitzvah? 2 days ago, I, female 22, posted a question on relationship advice, asking if I should come out as a lesbian at my 13-year-old brother's Jewish bar mitzvah. In Jewish culture, once a boy turns 13, he is considered a man in his religion, and this transition comes with a celebration along with ceremonial readings. My whole extended family came in town, and I only got invited to the bar mitzvah through my brother due to my parents cutting ties with me a few months prior. Ooh, okay. Was it because of the coming out? Okay, as I had written in the post, I had a speech prepared and said it right after the Torah readings. Oh no, you didn't just have it at his, like, bar mitzvah party. You did it during the ceremony. Okay. Ooh, I mean, coming out is a big deal, obviously, but I don't know if coming out in the middle of a religious ceremony was a wise choice. A lot of emotions were on the line, as this had been something I'd been wanting to say for quite some time. For as long as I could remember, I'd been attracted to women, and keeping this information away from my parents' extended family has put way too much stress on me. Okay, so did her parents not know then? The speech went over this fact or that fact, as well as some very personal stories. Some of the stories were about the family making jokes that, unknowing to them, hurt me. My brother had known for about 2 years, but no one else knew I was a lesbian. Okay, wait, so her parents didn't know at all, but they cut ties with her a few months. Did they suspect, maybe? Is that why I guess. The speech had not gone as I expected at all. I said what I needed to say, but before I could finish, both my mom and my dad walked toward me and said something along the lines of, "Okay, honey, that's enough. We've heard enough." At this point, no one in my extended family came to my rescue, and no one else was talking, just looking at me. I didn't know what to do next, so I just left the event in tears, got in my car, and drove off. So, you expected your extended family to rescue you? Why? What were you expecting? I In my initial post on relationship advice, I asked for fashion advice. What? I hope that wasn't all you asked for. Didn't really get any real suggestions, but just in case anyone was wondering, since it was an outside event, I wore flat top sandals, jeans, and a breezy blue blouse. Thanks. I'm sure we were all very curious what you wore. On my drive home, I got a text from my bro saying, "What the fuck was that? LOL." Uh, honestly, that is that's kind of the response I have. Uh, what the fuck was that? LOL. As if my feelings were somewhat of a joke to him. He knew I had been keeping this a secret for far too long, and that this was the last time for a while that the extended family would be in town for me to tell them face to face. He's also the one that invited me, and he knows what I come with as a person. I eminently called him in rage to get him to clarify his LOL. So, did you ask him about, like, did he know you were gonna do this? Seemed like he didn't. So, surprising to me, he was not the person that answered the phone. It was my mom and dad. They only had mean things to say, like, "Do you know how embarrassing that was? And we didn't invite you for a reason." Ah, I really. Okay. Like, part of me is like, is it. I guess maybe I'm just primed to be like, anytime it has to do with coming out, like, I just assume the parents are not being supportive and stuff, but we didn't invite you for a reason. I can kind of see why what the reason might be. To me, they didn't want to talk about me being a lesbian or the torture they put me through in high school. Yeah, because they seemed to be very confused about what was going on and why you decided that was the proper venue. The conversation was very one-sided, and I really didn't get to talk that much, keeping in mind that I was driving at this point. Also, they never really called me an asshole, but they were very mad at me to say the least. I don't know if that breaks the rules of this sub, but nevertheless, I think they are in the wrong, and they think I am in the wrong. Too long didn't read. My parents call my coming out moment embarrassing. What? I would say to the woman who wrote this, oy vey. Uh, there are so many things wrong with this post. On the one hand, yes, coming out is a very significant thing in the gay community or LGBT community. Uh, on the other hand, I would say choosing the moment to come out during someone else's very significant religious ceremony, not just the party, um, which, I mean, had it been just during the party that this was coming up, I would think it was. I wouldn't call you an asshole, but I would definitely feel like you're far less of an asshole than right now, where you completely took someone else's big moment and made it completely about yourself. Um, like, a bar mitzvah is a big deal. It takes preparation. Um, I'm not Jewish, but I at least know some of the things that have to come in, go into a bar mitzvah. And, from what I understand, it takes a lot of studying and a lot of practice to be ready to be able to read the Torah, and take part in the festivities, like it or ceremony. So to try to make that about you, especially because it seems like you didn't even talk to your brother about it. He may have invited you, but it seems like he did it so you could watch him at his bar mitzvah and not make a speech. I mean, like I said, I guess I part of me always wants to read in like possible motives of homophobia on parents and what they say. But honestly, in this case, since they didn't even know, I mean, I guess it's possible they suspected, and that's why maybe the things had you know, gotten estranged, and that's why they said, "Oh, there's a reason we didn't invite you." But at the same time, it sounds like the reason they didn't invite this person may have been because they just kind of seem like an asshole who wants to make events about them. So I would say you're the asshole. The parents might be an asshole. I'd have to know a lot more about what they've said and what they've done before I could say that. But just going by what's here, oof, just oof. Okay, here we are at the next one. I haven't read this yet. Okay, the title is getting to me already. Am I the asshole for telling my girlfriend that it's weird that she has a tank full of fake jellyfish in her living room? Weird. Okay, okay, I'm going back to it. I think that thing looks freaking awesome, and I'm frankly jealous that I don't have a tank like that. Um, I mean, that thing looks amazing. Uh, I love jellyfish. I love watching jellyfish, and I can tell you, if I had the room for that, like I would totally have that. Like that thing's awesome. I mean, I've actually had a dream of having like actual jellyfish, uh, like as like just having a giant tank. Well, not giant, but like having a tank full of jellyfish because I do love them. They're very, very beautiful animals to watch move through the water, and plus they're cool animals. Very cool. Before we get sidetracked talking about jellyfish and the amazingness that they are, but yeah, that tank seems freaking awesome. It's already I'm like, yeah, this guy's gonna be the asshole. That tank's freaking awesome. Uh, so this is super weird. So I'll try to keep it short. My 21 male girlfriend Alice, 27 female, and I have been together for just over 4 months. I sometimes stay over at her house as I still live at home. Alice suffers from anxiety and depression that she says comes from losing her mom to cancer 6 years ago. And her dad is extremely depressed and unreliable, so they aren't close. Alice works at the local veterinary clinic and has a well paid job, so she doesn't have much in the way of monetary worries. We get along great, and I seriously love her, and that's why I'm so pissed off that our first big real fight over something, our first first big real fight is over something so ridiculous. Last week, I called past Alice's on my way back from class to find her setting up a tank. I thought or assumed she must have decided to get a pet fish, but it was Oh, dude, that thing's on Wish? Okay. Nice. Not even fish. Jellyfish. Try explaining that to visitors. It's her fucking house, dude. She can explain it. You don't have to do shit. Like, dude, what are you doing? Try explaining that. Any visitors, I'd be like, what the hell? What the hell's in that tank? Those aren't real fish. What a fucking stupid thing to get. Try explaining that to visitors. I just assume anyone who goes into their house, or sorry, not their house, her house, will just like run out screaming 5 seconds later because there's a goddamn fake jellyfish tank there. I asked her what the hell she had bought it for. What the shit? What is this? Why? It's like he's acting like a fucking parent in a drug PSA. Like, what is this and why? You brought the demon jellyfish into my house? I didn't raise you. I didn't raise you this way. What the hell? I asked her what the hell she bought it for. Dude, it's her fucking house, too. Oh. And she said it's supposed to help with anxiety. Yeah, because it's probably super fucking calming to look at. The hole in that logic is this: she's already on antidepressant medication and has been for years now. So why the hell would she need an LED tank full of fake jellyfish? And how the hell would she even begin to think that's a legitimate thing? Yes, how dare she buy something that she enjoys? What a crazy person. Okay, I am a person who I had mentioned earlier I have a disability. My disability is actually having severe depression. That's something I've been living with for over a decade. And I can tell you, it can be hard. And even when you're taking antidepressants, that doesn't make it easier, in that suddenly you have no problems whatsoever, or you have no bad days, or any issues at all. Antidepressants are a wonderful, wonderful tool and a wonderful thing that can help you with your depression, but they are not perfect. And they are not just going to make it so you are perfectly fine, a-okay, everything's completely solved in just the most perfect, convenient way. That's not how it works. So if she thinks she wants a tank full of fake jellyfish as something that she finds relaxing, maybe it's something to distract her, like, say, if she's feeling anxiety or having negative thoughts about herself, you know? Maybe she has trouble with, needing, I mean, just anything to take her mind off things every once in a while. Like, honestly, like, I cannot understand where this dude is coming from at all. This is completely ridiculous. She is smart enough to get a degree, but not smart enough to avoid a blatant online scam. How is it a scam? She bought the jellyfish because she thinks she'll like it. Like, has this guy never bought anything because he thought he might like it or enjoy it? Take some meaning out of it? Like, at all? Like, how is it a scam? Like, it's not like she's saying, like, I have the jellyfish now. I can now completely go off my meds. I'm cured. Like, what's the scam? It's what she. It sounds like she saw something she liked, bought it with her own damn money, is putting it in her own damn house that you are lucky enough to get to use at all. What is wrong with you? It turned into a fight when I said she was a prime candidate to join an MLM scheme. So that stands for multi-level marketing scheme. If she was gullible enough to believe a fake fish tank would calm her anxiety. Okay. Okay. Calming her anxiety is different from curing her anxiety. Wanting something that you can have to help you in a situation, like having a tank of fake jellyfish that you enjoy looking at, is way different than her thinking that her anxiety is now cured because she has magic jellyfish that make it so the bad feelings go away forever. It sounds like to me she hasn't been scammed. She found something she enjoys, you stupid, unbearable jackass. I told her people would find it really uncomfortable to sit in the living room with a random fake jellyfish tank. What? What is wrong? What is this dude has so many issues. It's really uncomfortable to sit in the living room with a random fake jellyfish tank. They'd probably be like, "Oh, hey, I like that jellyfish tank. That looks really cool. Oh, thank you." What is he thinking? Like, someone's gonna be like, "What is that?" The jellyfish in there are moving, but they're not alive. Like, what is he thinking is gonna happen? People are gonna be uncomfortable. If anything, they're gonna be uncomfortable because you're gonna probably be bringing up that fucking jellyfish tank just because you're pissed at it for whatever fucking reason. She called me an idiot. Yep, fair. And asked me to leave. Also fair. Because apparently I was raising my voice. Okay, so you were yelling at her about the jelly. I barely raised my voice at all. I was just frustrated. Yeah, right. I'm sure. I know I reacted strongly to it. Oh, good. I'm glad you realized that. But it was just so crazy. Fuck. She bought something you could probably get at a fucking Spencer's gift, and you're acting like she just fucking bought a goddamn set of fucking moon crystals off Goop. Like, what are you doing? Like, she bought something because she thought it would be relaxing to have. What is up with you? Like, you're clearly having issues. And knowing she allowed herself to be scammed is even more maddening. Again, if unless she's literally trying to say that having the tank has cured her of anything, that's not really a scam. That's just owning something that you take pleasure out of owning or looking at. Like, we all have that. Like, any art you've ever bought, any, like, anything purely decorative. I bought a statue of Shazam. Does that mean I'm crazy because I own a statue that I like to have because I like the character, I like to look at it? You know, seeing it makes me happy when I glance at it? Like, that's like, what? Have you never owned anything decorative in your life? Probably not, because you live with your parents. So you've probably never had the experience of actually getting to decorate a living space. She ghosted me for a week and then finally texted me this morning with this. Just to let you know, or just to let you know, the jellyfish work great. I feel way less anxious at night, but honestly, I think the biggest stress reliever was dumping your insecure ass. Yeah, I could believe that. I could absolutely believe that. It's oh, feel less anxious than that. Yeah, I'm sure that tank works beautifully, and I'm happy that she likes it. I'm also happy she dumped your stupid ass. I'm sure she hasn't really dumped me over a fish tank of all things. And when she unblocks me, I'll explain myself more calmly. But am I the asshole for being mad that she fell for a scam? She blocked you. Good, good. I forget what he said your fake name was, but whoever you are, Madam Jellyfish owner, stick with them. Stick with the jellies. Stay the hell away from this guy because dude's a train wreck. Dude, he is like five trains slamming in. He's a train flying through the air, colliding with a jetliner and a blimp and a satellite. There are not words to describe the clusterfuck of insanity that is this guy. Best part, banned because apparently you can't even defend yourself on this fucking subreddit. Fucking loser. Dude, dude seemed to have like a wonderful relationship. Well, obviously not, but like it sounded like he had a wonderful woman in his life who seemed way better than he was. She was so far out of his league. And I'm not talking looks or anything as shallow as that. I mean, like, in terms of quality as a person, of all the things to, like, I get some dudes are just straight trash, but like, this is the stupidest reason I've ever seen a guy just immolate himself to completely destroy a relationship. Fucking, fucking decorative jellyfish tank. Like, that looks awesome. Like, yeah, she's. Of course, it's fucking great to look at night. I bet it's very pretty. Like, if I'm getting ready for bed and I'm walking through the living room or whatever, and I see that, I might sit and watch that for a little bit. Like, with all this friggin' COVID stuff going on right now, you know, the uncertainty in the world there is, yeah. I bet having a chance to look at some jellyfish just floating there, even if they're fake, I bet that's peaceful as hell. I mean, there's zoos that actually have webcams of jellyfish that can be fun to watch if you need to relax. Hopefully, watching me react to these stupid assholes is also relaxing to you as it is to me. Because I have to tell you, when you look at the stupid, petty reasons people have for fucking up shit in their life, it definitely gives you a feeling of euphoria knowing that you are not any of these fucking people. Okay, maybe I'll try to do one more. I don't want to keep going. I don't want these to be like 5-hour videos, even though I feel like I could just keep going. These are too great. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, obviously, I'm choosing these a lot based on, uh, what they're titled. But usually, I do try to at least skim, maybe through to at least know generally what it's about, just to make sure it's not going to be some disappointing thing. But I have not done that in this case. I literally just picked it because of this freaking title. Okay, hopefully it's good. Am I the asshole for calling out my wife's friend's husband for having a micro penis? All right, to avoid confusion, me equals me or first person. My wife equals wife. Her friend equals Megan. Megan's husband equals Alex. So, long story short, we all live in a city that's surrounded by farms. I grew up here. I worked on my uncle's farm all of my youth life. He met Megan in college. She's from here. I met my wife, and she came here with me after college. Megan's parents own a farm. Alex worked there for a bit, then quit, and now he's a used car salesman because he went to college for sales. My wife and Megan became friends because they both are into crafts and met at a craft store. My wife told me that Megan told her that Alex had a way below average dick, which my wife told me in confidence. And I learned that both Alex and Megan were virgins because they're, I guess, super Christian, like the wait until marriage type. My wife also told me that after they were married, apparently they both agreed that masturbation was okay, and Megan, who'd only been with one guy, who was small, learned that there were other men out there that were much larger. I hosted a barbecue yesterday. Alex and Megan showed up late, but what they came here in was a monstrosity. Alex and Megan showed up in a truck, which was a GMC, but I don't know what model. That was the biggest truck I've ever seen. I've seen trucks that are lifted 9 feet with 38-inch tires, and this thing was bigger. I thought it was a truck that was on his lot until I saw the paper plates on it, and it was a different dealership. Then he spent a good 45 minutes talking about the truck he bought and shit, saying it was lifted over a foot and it had the biggest tires I can legally have. Or sorry, I guess 9 inches, 9 feet. Sorry, I'm an idiot. Okay, I couldn't read the little symbols, but yeah, nine. I should have known. Anyway, sorry. Forgive my idiocy. Uh, I'm the asshole in this story. Um, and every time I tried to ask questions about it, he was just like, "You don't know about it. You're not from the country." So I got a little mad, and also I was a little drunk. So for someone who grew up in some shithole in Washington called Spokane to tell me that I don't know about country life just because I don't dress in flannels and cowboy boots, like that made me mad. So I asked him if he bought the truck because of his micro dick. He got really red. He looked at Megan, then looked at my wife, and she was giving the worst of death glares. It's been less than 24 hours, and my wife is still giving me the cold shoulder. So the answer here is yes, you are in fact the asshole. Uh, like, I mean, at the very, I mean, at best, he's the asshole too, just for being every stereotype about dudes with small dicks ever. Uh, but yeah, no, that's not super cool. First of all, the fact that you admit that you were drunk, and that was and that you were mad. Like, okay, that's basically admitting you were the asshole. That's pretty much some pretty good indications that you were, in fact, the asshole. I mean, yeah, okay, he said, oh, you don't know about it. And I guess, yeah, that could be upsetting because he was being, it sounds like, kind of a dick. Uh, but yeah, you're still the asshole here. He's probably the asshole, uh, assuming he was really as bad as you thought. See, that's the other thing is if you're drunk, it's hard to actually know if you were really perceiving things the way they actually were. Um, I mean, honestly, you could have just taken what he was saying completely wrong. Who knows? Like, I feel like anytime you have alcohol involved, you're going to have some unreliable narrator stuff. Um, the fact you said you were a little drunk, to me, I feel like you were probably more than a little drunk. Um, just saying. Yeah, you're the asshole. He's the asshole. Your wife's the asshole. His girlfriend's the asshole. Because she obviously had no right to tell your wife. Your wife had no right to tell you, and obviously you had no right to use that information to attack him. Um, Honestly, I can't believe it, but the dude with the giant truck may have been the least assholish person in this situation. Uh, Go figure. That's that. I feel like that's the first time that's ever happened. Uh, yeah, it sounds like this is a situation where just everyone kind of just sucks. Um, Again, I don't know why you freaking even post this. Like, of course you're the asshole in this situation. I mean, really, at best, you're just hoping everyone's going to be like, oh, it was clearly his fault too. But, I mean, damn, have some friggin' introspection that you can be like, yup, I was the asshole. You should apologize to him for sure. And frankly, your wife should apologize to him. And his girlfriend should apologize to him. Because it sounds like you guys really fucked him over with that. Uh, yeah, like I said, it's really weird to feel like the dude with the big truck and the micro dick was actually not the biggest asshole in the situation. That's just, I feel like we're in the Twilight Zone now. Well, hopefully you've enjoyed this. I know I have. I kind of wish we stopped at the jellyfish one, but you know, I'm a little disappointed. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little disappointed by this story. I thought it would have ended up a little better. Maybe a little. I don't want to say the word juicier, especially because it has to do with the micro dick. But uh, I wish there was a little more to the story. Left me very unsatisfied. Uh, all right, well, take it easy, and hopefully you won't find out next time that you're the asshole.